Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining Search Sessions. Search Sessions is a weekly show we're hosting during the COVID-19 pandemic to help businesses in our community best position themselves for success during and after the crisis. We host this every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time and bring on industry experts and thought leaders to provide business advice and guidance during these times. Every week, our brilliant SEO leaders at Boostability will also provide weekly SEO advice and tips for how you can optimize your SEO. This week, we have an incredible show. We're focusing on how to optimize your accounting during an economic downturn and have two of the brightest minds in the business here with us today. We have Garrett Wagner, the CEO of C3 Evolution Group. They are a full-service accounting and advisory firm, and he's also on the Accountant Advisory Council at Sage. Along with that, he is a CPA top 40 under 40 in the accounting industry. Garrett, thank you for being here.
Amanda, excited to join you today and talk about how businesses can better optimize their accounting during these truly crazy times.
Fantastic. And we also have Rafael Casas, Senior Account Advocate at Sage. Rafael focuses on solutions and advisory for accountants and small businesses. Raf, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Amanda, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and we're looking forward to just offering a ton of great advice to help these businesses in this time right now.
Perfect. And Sage is the global market leader for accounting and finance technology. So we are just thrilled to have you guys here today. Sage helps small and medium-sized businesses manage their finances, operations, and people. And Sage is trusted by millions of customers worldwide to deliver the best cloud technology and support to SMBs and partners. And hello, I'm Amanda Price. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Boostability. And every week I will be your host. So let's jump in. So today we have a really exciting agenda. Each week we really break this into two parts, starting with our first part focusing on business advice and how to best optimize and position and lead your business through this challenging time. And then we end with our weekly SEO advice and wisdom from Boostability's SEO experts, Colton Miller and Mike Marsh, who you'll meet later in this presentation. And today's going to be, packed with amazing information. Things are changing really quickly with the CARES Act, and our two experts, Garrett and Rolf, are going to take us through that. So the first topic we're going to cover today is how to optimize your accounting during an economic downturn, letting you know what resources are available, why it's more important now than ever to be closely aligned with your accountant and bookkeeper, how to adapt your business during this time. And then we also are going to be providing links and accounting resources thanks to Sage and C3 Evolution Group on our website at boostability.com/search sessions. You can go there every week to RSVP for new shows, to watch the past week's show on video, and to get any important links that you need. We will also be sending out all this valuable information in emails following this presentation. We then are going to dive into the CARES Act and go over the positive and negative aspects of the act, what this means for your business, and why it's so important to not wait to get started on this. And then how to adapt your business during this pandemic. So, what can you do? You can clean up the chaos of bad accounting, learn about different resources available to you, and fundamental actions that you can take now. And we're even going to touch on one of the often overlooked but most important things of being mindful and ways to exercise mental health during this time where everything has changed and people are working from home, and where it's just not the same as it was a little while ago. So how do you keep your mental health in a really good place so that you can perform the best and position your business for success and support your employees and all of that? And then we're going to wrap up with an amazing session from our Boostability SEO experts on building trust with EAT. You're going to learn all about that. It's expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. And it's going to be phenomenal. So the question of the day is, what should you or your clients do to optimize their accounting during an economic downturn? And we have Garrett from C3 Evolution Group, who's going to take us through that. So Garrett, passing the mic to you, and thanks so much.
Perfect. Happy to dive into this because no matter what size your business is and where your business was 30 days ago, your world's drastically changed like never before. We're seeing some businesses that were struggling before are definitely still struggling today, and others that were doing phenomenal 30 days ago are struggling just as much right now. So the CARE Act's very important. It's some relief for individuals and business owners across the board. So it's good to kind of have a fresh understanding of what it is. And then I'm encouraging everybody, rely on your accountant, rely on your CPA to help you understand this. Don't spend hours every day watching, intricate detailed webinars meant for CPAs or bankers on the CARES Act. Ask your accountant, ask your CPA, get going on the right path. So to kind of touch on some of the high level pieces of it, the first one, you probably heard about the stimulus payment. Most individuals in the country are going to get some money from the government. Now, most people get about $1,200 singly or $2,400 if they're married filing jointly, with an extra $500 per child. And now there's some phase out levels that come in over there, and those should be coming anytime in the next couple weeks to couple months, depending where you are. So that can be some nice cash for everybody out there to keep them going through these truly turbulent times. And if you're not sure exactly how much you're getting, if you Google it, there's some amazing resources out there to help you figure out how much your stimulus payment amount can be and what it'll look like. So that's on the individual side. There's some relief coming from the government in terms of those stimulus check payments. On the small business side, it's truthfully a lot more confusing than that because there's so many options. And that's why it's great to rely on a CPA and accountant to help you understand, okay, what do I do first? Because right now we're all kind of getting flooded with information. You see in the news, you hear in the headlines, you might read in the newspaper, all these pieces. You need to kind of really hone on, clarify that direction you need to go in going forward. So two of the most popular products through the SBA and through in coordination with your local bank is the payroll protection loan and the disaster recovery loan. The disaster recovery loan, you're able to apply directly through the SBA website. It's a simple application. It should only take about 10 or 15 minutes. Most businesses will qualify. And you can request up to a $10,000 grant to get started. And that $10,000 may be forgiven, which is a nice bonus. And then on top of that, there's a 30-year loan that comes with it if you seek the full funding from the disaster relief loan. That's the good news. The downside is that loan started March 30th. And part of the promise was when you do your application within 3 days, you'll get the money. I don't think too many people have yet gotten funding from that. And the SBA is just tremendously overwhelmed with the number of applications they got. So that 3-day thing's pretty much out the window. So hang in there. But if you haven't applied for the disaster relief loan, you need to do that today. The second avenue, which is tremendously popular as well for businesses under 500 people, PPL, payroll protection loans. So what the government wants to do, their goal here is to keep businesses like you out there running, no matter how impacted you are by COVID-19. And they want to get some cash into your pockets so you can pay your bills, so you can pay your payroll. So through local banks, they're offering a loan. They'll take the average 12-month payroll for the prior year times 2.5, plus some healthcare benefits, plus some amounts paid to independent contractors, which is a little fuzzy right now, plus the company contribution to the 401k. Take that average amount times 2.5. That's the loan amount. So some businesses, that's a pretty good amount. And then what you spend on that in the next 8 weeks after you get it can be forgiven as long as you don't lay people off. And it can be spent on payroll, benefits, rent or mortgage, utilities, and interest on debt outstanding prior to this. So for a lot of businesses, they could see a loan amount of $50, $100, $200,000 and possibly have all of it forgiven. And that's not something you really want to pass up. That way you can keep your business going. You can keep paying your employees. You can keep going strong. So those are two great programs. And they're so great that all the banks in the SBA are tremendously overwhelmed with them. Almost every bank, the smallest one, got thousands of applications in a matter of hours. So if you haven't done that loan yet either, call your CPA, have them help you get it done right the first time, cut through the chaos. And for those businesses, if you don't qualify for either of those, or you're not interested in those, there's two other forms of payroll tax credits available to you. One, you'll get a credit back for payroll paid through payroll taxes, up to $5,000 per employee for salaries paid through the rest of 2020. Once again, can't be combined with the payroll loan, but still a great option for business owners. And then if you don't qualify for that, all the way down, you can defer payroll taxes as well. So some great options to get through there from the individual side, the stimulus payments, the SBA loans for businesses, some payroll tax credit options. And then if none of those work at all, there's tremendously expanded unemployment benefits around the country on top of that. So there really is a lifeline in there for just about everybody in every way. Sometimes the challenge is to kind of figure out, okay, which of those different options do I do? What can I combine? What can I combine? And that's why it's really great to connect to your CPA and help them clarify your direction so you're picking the right ones the first time. And then on top of that, like I said a couple of times, don't wait to get started. If you haven't applied for any of this yet, if you're still not sure what to do, and almost pause this webinar right now, pick up the phone, call your CPA, tell them to get started, then come back and hit resume because it's so important to get started today. The biggest downside to this is the confusion is just outstanding from the SBA side, the political side, the bank side, the individual business owner side. I think for us, we've been seeing a ton of questions. At first was, how do I do my application? And then, the past day it shifted to random questions from bankers. So we've been spending most of our time now not helping the clients submit loan applications, really negotiating with bankers to make sure the bank knows what the actual rules are so the clients and these small businesses aren't taken advantage of. So you can tell there's a ton of stuff going on there and it truly changes every day. So if you're a business owner right now and you want to clarify your direction and get through this, lean on your CPA heavily to make sure you're doing the right thing at the right time and getting the money and that lifeline that's available for your business. So now we're going to move on to, if that's the overview of the CARE Act, how do you deal with this at your business? What else can the CPA do to help you? And one of the things we talk about a lot when we work with business owners is helping them clarify their direction. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to get in your car and just start driving around not sure where to go. We all get in the car nowadays and we put the coordinates in the GPS, or we know how we're getting from point A to point B. That's how we get there successfully. We don't waste time, gas, energy, and resources. What we find though is most business owners are driving blind. Every day is a new day at the business. They don't have a direction. They don't have a roadmap. They don't have a budget, a cash flow forecast, any of those things. Some of the clients we see don't even use accounting software like Sage. They've got stuff on pieces of paper. And that makes it really hard for them to pull it together, especially in these turbulent times, and have some clarity to what to do. You might wonder for yourself or your business, how many days can I make it with the cash in the bank today? Most of them will kind of say, oh, off the top of my head, I think I got 5 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is. Now is a great time with all this to truly clarify your direction. Work with your CPA, work with your accountant, whoever it is, and project out your cash flow. Manage your budget. Get a clear picture of where you are today and where you're going to go over these next 6 turbulent months. So if things get better, you can more quickly recover. If things continue to go downhill, you can identify that and make more course corrections along the way. In the best of times, you don't want to drive blind as a business owner. In the worst of times, you simply can't afford to drive blind anymore. So really lean on your CPA through these times. Talk to them once a week. Talk to them once a day. Understand how they can help you clarify your direction and get through this better than you are today. Because at the end of the day, as a business owner, you're not alone. You can really rely on others around you, especially your CPA, to get you through this and get you through this better than you were when you got into this. Hopefully for a lot of business owners, you can find some opportunity that comes out of these crazy, turbulent times with COVID-19. And I think that last bullet point over on the right, the fundamental actions that you can take, we said, you got to clean up those accounting records. Stop doing things in paper. Get any accounting software. Project those cash flows. Know where you're going. Manage those cash flows. Look for efficiencies. Look for ways to scale back. Cut back on some of the discretionary spending. And then most importantly, through all of this, we encourage CPAs, business owners, individuals, everybody alike right now. I'm going to tee it off to Rafael with this because he's the master. Sometimes we just got to breathe. Take a moment. And as I tell my daughter that's 5.5 all the time, actually, she gets frustrated. Take 2 deep breaths, relax, and think about what you want to do next. And that's how you can make it through it. So Rafael, with that, I'll let you as the master kick it off next to how businesses can look at the resources available and focus on getting through this.
Thank you, Garrett. I appreciate it. That was a really great information, and I hope people are really being able to kind of break that down, what's going on right now. And just as you said, things are breaking breaking news every single day. It's actually every hour and even every 30 minutes, things are changing. The situation is so fluid. So it's really, really important for you as a small business, even accountants, to understand where to go for the correct resources available, to see what's actually happening outside of Twitter and Facebook and all of those social media black holes that we get into. So a few that I have here, and we'll provide these resources to everyone after this call if they're not already available. But within Sage ourselves, we have a resource center which goes through many different areas for small business, not only from a WHO, CDC, but also to different types of businesses, from construction to just distribution businesses. So we have something for everyone, as well as up-to-date information on what we're doing in the industry to make sure that we're serving everyone. And then you also got the AICPA, which is really one of the governing bodies for the CPA community, which is really working with the government as well. And so they've got comprehensive calculators. So if you need some additional assistance trying to figure out if you don't have an accountant or a bookkeeper or not aligned to them, they have some really great calculators that'll help you kind of figure out what to do in perspective of PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program. And then there's also the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, where you can get some comprehensive small business guides and checklists. And then lastly, an SOS business planning guide. And this was done by Laurel and Wilson, Collective CPA out of Pacific Northwest. And this actually is an extremely comprehensive guide that's going to go guide you as a small business to not only help you with mitigating risks, mitigating operational costs, but also looking at, leveraging the types of technology that are available to you. So that's something that I really, really urge everyone to take a look at. It'll help you get some guidance and be much more better vision as to what you should be doing. And as Garrett was talking about aligning with your CPA right now, more important than ever is needing to be aligned with your accountant. Not only for some of these perspectives down here are the top ones that I can think of in this particular climate: adopting cloud technology and automation. Now, working from home, there's a lot of folks, a lot of small businesses that weren't really set up for success and to be able to transition to work from home. I've had a lot of businesses coming to me and helping with that migration piece, and so this is a really good dress rehearsal for future things that may happen where you'll be set up for success and not have to disrupt your business. So these are things that you want to continue to think about, and this is where your accountant and your CPA can really help in looking at what your business is doing now and how it can be much more effective and efficient. And then as well as the automation piece, that's something that us at Sage really work closely on to make sure that there's a good business continuity happening, and that when these types of economic disasters happen, that you aren't really affected too much. It's just going to be certain pivots within your business, but for the most part, you'll have business continuity, and that's the most important thing right now. And then these last two pieces, understanding, the the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, versus the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And the EIDL actually was something that was brought into play after September 11th. So that's not nothing new, but what you want to really work with your accountant on is to determine what is going to be best for you. So, you know, possibly for some business owners, particularly those with high rents and low labor costs, may not benefit from the PPP as much as they think. So these are things that your accountant can really help out understanding from a future, from a forecast, from your financials, from your operating costs. That's something that under the managerial accounting and forecasting is extremely important for them to help you figure out those types of paths that you should be taking. So we have a source here that breaks down by Hyde Bailey, which is one of the top firms in the country. They're also a Sage Accountants Network member, and this guide will be available to you, and it breaks it down so you have a clear understanding of what you should be doing if you, for instance, don't have an accountant available. The last piece here is the PPP application checklist for small businesses. So this is really important. There's a few steps here. One, it's the SBA loan application. That process is one thing. Again, as Garrett said, there's some major discrepancies with languages. There's been different iterations happening every 5 minutes, it seems, and there's confusion between CPAs and SBA lenders, banks. So, you know, there's a huge bottleneck there, and so we want to be patient with our accountant because they're working, you know, 24/7 trying to make this work as best for small businesses as possible. So one thing that you can do to be proactive is look at this application checklist and make sure you have all your ducks in a row. The other piece to this that's really, really, really important is the forgiveness process. And that's where you really want to have your accountant align with best practices within your accounting system to make sure that these costs, if for instance you get the PPP, is correctly tracked because 75% of the loan must go to payroll costs to be forgiven. So there are some stipulations in there, and so you really want to align with them because they're the expert in this particular area. And again, all these resources will be available to you to break down a little bit further and have a great look. And so now, as we look at that finished from the business side perspective, we really want to look at something that's you know, near and dear to my heart, and something I think that's going to be extremely valuable to each and every one of us, because there is being mindful of mindfulness. Yeah, you know, as everyone's shifting to working from home, you know, a lot of us, like myself and Garrett and many others, have been working from home for decades. The only thing that's changed a little bit is having kids at home nonstop, and that can throw a wrench in there. But it's really important to figure out things that are going to help you be in a great mind state as you're shifting your business practice. So a couple things to look at are meditation. You know, there's some great apps out there. Headspace is one, a great one. Waking Up with Sam Harris is another one. There's a bunch out there. So you really want to look at even giving yourself several minutes, whether it be in the shower, whether it be somewhere else, just alone, you know, on a walk, listening to a podcast or meditation on there. Those are things that are really going to be helpful for you to clear your mind and just have a better perspective on the day and be more efficient and effective. You know, as being a leader, you want to make sure that you have peacefulness that helps with the clarity. When you have anxiety, you know, things are much more difficult to navigate. You know, getting outside and exercising when you can. You know, some of the seasonal areas in the country don't have that ability, but if you can do that, that's something that you should definitely try to do, along with just keeping your routines. You know, a lot of folks we're creatures of habit, so having routines is really essential. I know of one story where a husband and wife, where she would have to get up, get dressed, get out of the house, drive around the block, then come back in and go into her house and pretend it was her office. You know, and that's what kept her going each day. And those are routines that if that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do to make sure that you have a great day. And even just starting out with your day, there's there's Inc.com did a great editorial on this, and 3 questions to ask yourself every morning is, who am I checking in on or connecting with today? What expectations of normal, quote unquote normal, am I letting go of today? And what beauty am I creating, cultivating, or inviting in today? I think these are 3 really great questions that can kind of put you in that right mindset and mind space to tackle the day, because normal is out the window. Every day is everyone is in the same boat, and we're all supporting each other, and that's what something that we need to continue doing. And we're just very grateful for the community we have, from small business to accountants, and to be able to just to support each other, as well as how Boostability is supporting the community in every which way we possibly can. So with that said, I'll be handing this over to Amanda, and we'll be going over some more information. Prior to, this is another page actually, which will have some additional resources that you can look at for accounting resources, small business resources, and medium business resources from a Sage point of view. If you have any additional questions with regards to looking for accountants or bookkeepers or best practices, or looking for some cloud software, accounting software that you would be able to, that you can transition and to be more ready for these economic downturns, as well as the working from home operations, please feel free to give me an email, and we'll make sure to align you with the best possible resources. And with that, I'll hand it over to Amanda.
Thanks so much. One of my favorite things that, I heard kind of come out of both Rafael, what you said and what Garrett said, is that you're not alone. And I was thinking that, although we're in isolation, we're not isolated. We have technology, we have people like accountants that can help us. And that message really resonated with me. Although in isolation, we're not isolated. And, I feel that a lot of times we, especially now that we are, all working from home, you kind of can feel alone. But we're not. We have resources and people, and I think that's really an empowering thing to focus on. Is the CARES Act and all the different things and changes that are happening daily that might be too hard for myself or an SMB to keep up with. You can rely on your accountant, and you can rely on different resources and people like Sage, to help translate that stuff and get us through to the next stage. So I just wanted to say thank you for saying that, guys. I think that is a really powerful message and empowering. Just reach out to people who are there to help you. And that leads us into our actionable SEO strategies. We have 2 of our brightest SEO minds from Boostability here today. Colton Miller, our director of SEO, and Mike Marsh, our SEO manager at Boostability, and they are going to take us through EAT.
Yes, thank you so much, Amanda, and thank you, Garrett and Rafael, for the wonderful information. I had myself on mute, and I was just taking notes the entire time. I was just going through. It was excellent. I love what you said about clarifying your direction, making sure that the business continuity, it's the most important thing right now. That's kind of what we want to touch on as well. During this economic shift, building trust, there's a great opportunity to build trust for your business, for your brand, and your online reputation. What we want to talk about right now real quick is essentially it's EAT, which is the expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. It's a term that's actually used in Google's quality rater guidelines. If you've been following on Instagram, I've been talking about the quality rater guidelines, really inviting people to go through and read that. It's essentially, it's not necessarily algorithmic, but it's what Google looks at it's the guidelines that they give their individuals who look at websites manually, and what Google says to them as what it makes a good website. So it's great information as far as how you can build your website, build your online presence. Definitely inviting everyone to go through there and to read the quality rater guidelines, but this is just a little bit of that. So I want to go through just some, with Colton and myself, just go through some things that we can do during these times to really build your trust online, because that is something that Google is looking at. So for example, we've talked about last week, we've talked about providing valuable content. We provided about hosting live video events. There's a lot of different things that you can definitely do. You can put out a lot of great content. So think white papers, think blog posts, think videos, whether you're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, think tutorials, think how-tos. Really create content that's not necessarily a sales pitch, but create content that's valuable to your audience, that answers questions, right? It's something that we're looking at, and that Google is definitely looking at. They want you to help service your audience and to answer those questions that they have. There's also other things, especially when you're thinking trust online. Links are a great factor. So you want to make sure that the links that you're sharing are trustworthy. The links that you're generating for your website are also trustworthy. So it's something that you can definitely try to connect with businesses, try to build those partnerships at this time to help build trust within your niche. Do you have anything else to add, Colton?
The only thing I would add on top of everything you put there is just creating the association between your vertical or what you're servicing and your brand. And it's a lot easier than most people think to actually create that association, and that is simply because of you, the individual. The way you talk about things, the way you'll write about things, the way that you'll actually style things. It's actually really easy to do that in your own way, because if you just do it, kind of naturally, your own personality, your own spin will come out on top of it. So keeping that in mind, creating this content, you don't have to be a perfectionist. You don't have to be a professional writer. You don't have to be a graphic design artist, anything like that. Just simply go through, do what you like, style how you like, keep it somewhat conversational in the sense of, if you talk about things a certain way, especially with your clients, make sure that you try to write that same way. If you are, if you like a certain art style, or that's a direction that you like to style things in, maybe heavily visual, things like that, you want to make sure that that's translated into the content that you're creating. And by doing that, naturally over time, you'll start to create these assets and resources that essentially tie your business with your vertical and what you're providing. The example that Google gives us there that's highlighted is, Visa. When we hear the word Visa, we all, instead of thinking like what an actual visa is for traveling, we think of probably the credit card first. And we have to ask ourselves, why is that? What has happened over the years through commercials, through, educational opportunities, things like that, that we've built that connection. You need to do the same thing for your business with your content. And now is the perfect time to go through and create that content. A bunch of examples there, white papers, videos, etc. Basically start creating this content, create it in your own style. And over time, that will, again, create that association between your brand and the vertical that you're servicing.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, you guys. We are going to jump into questions. If anyone from the audience has any for Colton, Mike, or also Garrett and Rafael. Christine, do we have any questions from the audience?
Yeah, we have two that have come through so far. One from Mike and Colton directly, just why is trust online important for our website?
I'll take a stab at this one. So trust online is one of the big factors for Google as far as understanding what content should they serve. If you ever do a search and you notice the little number that's off to the right hand side that says took 1 point whatever seconds to deliver you, and then it says like 1 million results. Links are a big factor in understanding, out of those 1 million results, who should they actually show, and specifically who should they show on the top 10, top 20, so on and so forth. Links are not the only factor there. There's other factors like usability, again, kind of trustworthiness, historical trustworthiness, things like that, and relevance. But links is definitely a big factor that can essentially take you from being that millionth result to maybe being top 100. Don't know if you have anything else to add, Mike.
Oh no, like you said, there's with the links and that kind of trustworthiness, like that's it's important for any business to have those kind of indicators, those KPIs that Google looks at for as a trust factor. And so knowing what those are, reading the quality rater guidelines, knowing what really are those trust indicators is very important, like you said.
Okay, great. Thanks. The next one is for Rafael and Garrett, and it's how do you find a good CPA or accountant if you don't have one, or what are some resources you can use if you need to find an accountant or CPA to help you at this time?
Yeah, I'll take that one to start with. I think that to pivot off what Colt and Mike said, you know, if you're trying to find a good CPA, look for one that's putting out good information and content right now. If they're sharing ideas and knowledge to help businesses get through this complex time, then they're probably a good CPA versus those that are just buried in their work, got their head in their sand. So if you're seeing them put out great content, most likely they can help you through this. And then, you know, social media is another great way to find them as well. Or, you know, you can always just ask people, you know, because generally what you're going to get from people with accounting referral is either, oh yeah, I go to Bob and Bob's fine. Or what you really want to hear is, oh, my person is amazing. Then you know that's who you want to go with when they say that, not just anything else. My person is amazing. And I'm sure Rafael can get more some of the resources the Sage Accounting Network has to find great accountants throughout the country as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same sentiment as Garrett has, you know, looking online as well with, you know, social media, the great content. There's several major leaders in this space. And within the Sage Accounts Network, which we have in the United States, we have over 11,000 accountants, bookkeepers, and CPA firms ranging from, you know, very small one-person account firms to, you know, the top 20 firms in the world. So my email will be available after this. You can email me and I can help link you up to several different accounts that could be possibly in your area, partners in your area, but we are here to support you in any way you can.
Okay, great. Also for Rafael and Garrett, there was another question, or you guys referred to the Paycheck Protection Program as well as the EIDL. Can you tell us a little bit more about where you can apply for those specifically? I know you touched on it a little bit, but a little bit more specific.
Yeah, the EIDL, if you do a Google search for SBA, EIDL, or SBA disaster relief loan, you can apply for that one directly through the SBA website in a matter of seconds. And then for the payroll loan, you've got to apply that through a bank that does SBA loans. And generally that's most banks in the country are doing SBA loans if they do a business loan. So the best place to start, if you have a business checking account, call your bank and say, can I apply today? Their answer should be yes. If not, then you can find somebody else in town, but almost every bank is accepting applications for the payroll loan today.
Okay, great. Let's see, here's another one. Some people, I mean, they've been doing business for years, you know, through their paper, and maybe moving online is a little bit intimidating. How do you pick the right technology, and maybe what are some resources they can use to maybe move their bookkeeping from paper to digital?
Yeah, this is Rafael here. So a few things that we can do within Sage is we have, you know, full onboarding team that'll help assess the type of business that you're running, the type of clients that you have, the types of invoices, receipts, banking information that you primarily have that is specific, is just paper. You know, we've actually, we have Sage Business Cloud Accounting, which is specifically for small business on the cloud. That's extremely, you know, efficient and robust, and can help you scale from, you know, not a lot of transactions just to you know, a multitude of transactions for your business as you grow into more of a mid-size area. So with that, we also have something called auto entry. which is a new acquisition which allows you to scan from either your mobile phone or a scanner all of these papers that you have, whether it be receipts or invoices, whatnot, and you can actually convert them into digital pieces of paperwork within that'll also not only reside in auto entry and be secure through Amazon Web Services, but as well as have these digital footprints for auditing. And that's really the best process to start this. So we have the ability to help you do that. So not only from a technology standpoint and to keep it all secure, because that's a major issue right now, but also from experience and consulting to help you go through this process seamlessly.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Rafael. And one more SEO related question for Mike and Colton. We wanted to know, you mentioned a couple things that people can start doing to start building that EAT, and that's good content, but what is one thing like immediately that people should start doing now to start creating that good content?
From my end, I would say two things mainly. Create a content calendar is probably the number one thing you could do. Essentially, it creates a roadmap for you. So, as an example, pull out a calendar, got 30 days on there, even just a week. That really doesn't matter. But either way, you go onto that calendar and you say, here is what I'm going to do on this day, whether that's a video, maybe it's just outlining a blog, different things that you can do there. Essentially, it allows you to just kind of, in your mind, quickly go through a bunch of ideas, and kind of as you go through that, you'll start finding topics or ideas, or like, hey, I remember somebody asked me a question a year ago that I never answered. You'll start kind of creating those ideas for yourself. The second thing that I would append to that is videos. If you're not doing it today, if you haven't considered it, create videos. It doesn't even have to be like you standing in front of a camera. It could just be your voice overlaid with pictures, graphics, whatever it might be. I think we've all seen those videos as well, where it's like literally somebody drawing on a whiteboard, or even just drawing on a piece of paper, and then they kind of tear it off. Videos are going to be, in my opinion, they're going to be key over the next few years on just really upping the amount of content and the kind of content that you're creating. And it's also really easy to create content that is conversational, which prepares you for rich snippets, voice search, things like that.
Definitely. Just to piggyback off your first point, engaging your customers in that two-way conversation can happen via your content, or you can do it on a review platform, whether it's Google My Business or Clout or BBB. Any way that you can really engage your customers and maintain that consistency as far as communication, like you mentioned, Colton, just engaging your customers, building that trust. I know that when I go to a business, I look at reviews. That's something that I look at. And you want to look at how active they are and how they respond to negative reviews. Making sure that you're doing that as a business and a brand online is essential to the longevity for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And one more question for Rafael and Garrett, and that is, what kinds of businesses take advantage of the disaster relief loan and paycheck protection, and can you do both at the same time?
So I'll do the second part first. You can do both at the same time, but the $10,000 grant that comes out of the disaster loan reduces your forgiveness for the payroll loan. So there's a little bit of kind of like overlap there you've got to watch out for. And then otherwise, in terms of what business can take advantage of it, most businesses under 500 people, whether you're an S Corp, C Corp, partnership, whether you're self-employed, whether you're an ESOP, qualify for that. The biggest caveat is only 501c3 nonprofits qualify for the payroll loan. But they've tried to make it as broad as possible. So if you're a small business under 500 people, you're generally going to qualify for both of those loans.
Okay, great.
One last thing to point out as well, that because things are so fluid and things are changing so much, I know that a lot of small businesses are really worried about the initial $349 billion that was available for the PPP because there were so many applications and there's such a big bottleneck. But as of yesterday, there was an additional 250 billion that is looking to be available soon. So, the best thing to do is, again, align with your accountant and look to apply for these as soon as possible to make sure, because these funds are limited.
Okay, Amanda, that's it for questions. I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks so much. And thank you to everyone for your questions. Those were fantastic. And thanks to our presenters for your answers. Those were great as well. So in closing, we are going to talk about next week's show. But before we get there, if you need help with your SEO, reach out to us. Boostability is here to help you. We are the worldwide leader in small business SEO. We serve companies in 15 countries, in 9 languages, all around the world, and we specialize in helping small businesses. You can visit us at boostability.com or call 1-800-261-1537 and to get in touch with us, and we are here to help you. And then I did want to say that all the phenomenal resources that Sage and C3 Evolution Group have provided us are also now live on our website on our search sessions page, which is located at boostability.com/search-sessions. And we will send this out in an email along with all the amazing links and the ability to get straight in contact with Rafael and Garrett so that we can provide you guys, connection to all the resources you need. And that's paramount to us. And next week, we have another fantastic show on how to lead your business through change with our weekly SEO solutions. We have 2 very special guests next week, Lisa Peterson, the client partner at Franklin Covey, and Sherry Sherman, an implementation specialist at Franklin Covey. And Franklin Covey is the worldwide leader in business and executive training programs. They focus on helping businesses understand how to increase productivity, results, and they provide critical insights on how to lead your business through difficult times like this. We are going to be covering some really exciting ground there. I'm talking about, the 2 choices that leaders are dealt with when you're in a situation like this. Number 1, do you freeze to the point of inaction, allowing uncertainty to damage your culture, performance, results, and significantly slow your return to greatness? Or do you 2, transform that fear into engagement, execute with excellence, and use the uncertainty as a time to actually increase trust with your customers and your employees and help everyone in the organization prepare to do more with less? This is going to be an amazing talk. Again, we host these every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain. And it's going to be an amazing show. So thanks so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, everybody.